This week, the Haunted Mansion queue took another big step forward. The knotholes are back at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and I think I'm going to need some help figuring out what they're doing on the ground back there at Bayou Country. But first, something unexpected has happened on Sawyer Island. It is now my goal, my wish to get to this island as often as possible, and this week, as part of my construction recon, I just went just because I wanted to put eyes on the island again, just to sort of document it, because it's going down for a closure for a couple days, which we're going to get into in a minute. And I just wanted to take another look and see if there's anything out there that I'm hoping they might fix. And along the way, we'll take in the Mark Twain drifting by on the rivers of America. Just a wonderful sight. I'm full court press. I am all about the rivers of America now. Mark Twain, Sawyer Island. I'm all about it right now. When I arrived, I found, as I was expecting to, a closed stage area out front with Lafitte's Tavern. No guests allowed there, but look at this. Look what I found. Dead Man's Grotto. The trash cans were not out front. Guests were going in. And I went straight in. I didn't even flinch. I'm like, okay, I got to see what's going on here. Out of nowhere, they have opened Dead Man's Grotto. It's the kind of thing that doesn't even show up on the refurb calendar, so we have no idea when it's going to close or when it's going to open. It's just the island that shows up. The heart in the box is functioning, glowing. The sound effects were working. It's actually quite dark in there. Try to grab that gold bar. No. That's working. Terrific. Try to get me hands on the gold over here as well, but curses the magic. It vanished. One thing that I was looking forward to checking on was the pirate back there in the cell. It was a really janky effect back there. It was a projection, kind of like the bride at the Haunted Mansion. I don't see a projection there, and it looks like just a regular, I can't tell, but he wasn't speaking. His head just sort of bobbed a little bit here and there. But I think that's just a proper, practical pirate, which is better than the old projection. They try to get him to talk. So he doesn't talk, so maybe they don't need the projection anymore. And there you go, guys. Dead Man's Grotto is open. Did that just happen? Did I just go through Dead Man's Grotto? Cool. Wow. Well, now I'm excited at this point. I'm hoping more good news is on the way, but no, the bilge pump is still not working today. It's still a murky swamp back there. And the pirate with the treasure is still not working. The lift isn't working. The pontoon bridge is open. That's been closed also. They've had a trash can out in front of the pontoon bridge for quite a while. This was open. And of course, I am not quite sure how to process this. We've got the pontoon bridge back and Dead Man's Grotto. But some of the other things are still not working. But it's a start. I tell you what, that might be the happiest I've been in quite a while. Seeing Dead Man's Grotto open and being able to cross that pontoon bridge. I don't know if I've ever been as happy recently. Still ways to go, though. The water's still not functioning here. When there's water at the top of where the treehouse is, that's when we'll know we've won. When water returns there. But it's been a long time since we've seen water. But boy, would I be impressed if Disney were able to pull that off. And we'll enjoy the Mark Twain again for a little bit because I love it. And it goes without saying, of course, that the canoes are back. We're going to look at the trail over there by Bayou Country. But part of the return of that trail was the return of the Davy Crockett canoes. What a beautiful sight that is. Underrated as an aesthetic at Disneyland. No, this needs to be talked about more. We need to talk about Duke more. He's back there steering the canoe today. Duke is a legend on the river. And he's one of my favorites. So happy to see him back at work on the river. and happy to see these guests taking part in the Davy Crockett canoe ride. Outstanding. So, got a ways to go still, as I said, but it was a nice, comforting note to see some of those things working back there again. It's going to bring me back onto this island. I've been on the island now 3 times in the last 2 weeks, so I'm proud of that. Let's go over to the Haunted Mansion. We're a quick update on the virtual queue system. It's obviously still in use. They have slowed down the response time for how quickly they process the groups, and that's because they've increased the inventory. They're allowing more people into the mansion. There are more people per group than there used to be. If maybe there were 10 people in a group, that you see on the app when you register for a virtual queue, if there were maybe 10 before, now there's 15. So it takes a little bit longer to cycle those 15 guests as opposed to 10. So it's taking about 2 minutes, as I estimate, 2 minutes per group. So just do the math on that. If you got 100 groups to go before it's your turn, figure 200 minutes. Now, let's get on that path. We're so far behind on reporting this in a construction report because it opened the day that we published our last one, 2 days after we filmed our last one. So this is the first chance we've had to film it for a construction report. And it does give us a view again of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. But we'll note the concrete back there was new, but it's about the same. But they put in this sort of simulated wood finish here. That's actually, it looks like wood, but it's not. It's kind of like a concrete that's been stamped and given there's a lot of porous texture in there. And then this is new concrete right here, which gives it a very old west kind of feel. I guess Bayou, I'm not sure if it's because we are now entering Bayou Country. It's so strange that Disney didn't even say anything about this. They just put it on that sign and we all just had to work it out. Disney never said, hey guys, Critter Country is now Bayou Country. They never actually said those words. We all just worked it out. Here's some 2 different stages of concrete here. There's sort of a transition. The new stuff is on the left. I'm pretty sure the stuff on the right is the old stuff. They did not update that. And then, of course, the trail connecting Critter Country and New Orleans Square to Galaxy's Edge is open. All of this, they never touched this surface, the wood bridge there or the concrete. There's the Mark Twain again. I'm just chasing that Twain around the river all day today, it seemed like. And as I mentioned before, when we saw the canoes, the Davy Crockett canoes are open again. They are running. Also open is the restroom here on the left. Also, we have a new sign, the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree, and we have a menu. We have a new menu. We did a video on this over on Fresh Baked Presents, our news channel. You might want to check that out, but there's a new menu, a barbecue menu. It looks really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to trying that soon. No word yet on when that area will open, by the way. Hungry Bear or the rest of Critter Country. It does seem, though, if they're putting the tables and chairs back, it does seem reasonable to think that they could open that up ahead of the rest of Critter Country and Tiana's, or Bayou Country. So the trail's open. There's the Hungry Bear Jamboree sign. Now let's take a look. This is the first chance we've been able to do this now because the path is closed, but we have some interesting angles to look at here from the lower level, from the bridge and the Hungry Bear, the lower level of the Hungry Bear. That back there you can kind of see is the queue for the many adventures of the Winnie the Pooh, which is obviously not changing. This isn't going anywhere, even though they're calling it Bayou Country. Winnie the Pooh is still there. That's Eeyore's house right there. I don't really see anything observable at that point. We can see the top of the entrance barn to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, where they have the new paint, the green and yellow there. Now, if we look below the bridge, that's the ramp up to Hungry Bear. Look at this. This is where I need help trying to figure out what I'm looking at. Those stones there, that cobblestone and the wood fence, that's new. And it looks like a queue is being formed, or a separate path is being formed that's heading into the barn, the entry to Winnie the Pooh, to the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. It used to be that the queue kind of just started, I guess, at the actual barn. And then, very rarely did the queue ever leave that part of the queue, but sometimes it did. And they just sort of mixed in with the guests on that common path. Are they building a defined entry path into the barn structure? Is that what that is? And if so, I think that's great. More theming, the better. The more that they are able to do stuff like this, as opposed to just leaving it the common area and open air and just kind of mixing out there with everybody else. I don't like that very much. It shows a lack of, I don't know, forethought, I guess. But this is considerate. This is extra. I like this. I like this a lot. If it's what it looks like. I'll have to have somebody vet that for me. Maybe construction pros out there or people who kind of know what they're talking about. Looking to the left, a little less obvious. I think that fence we're seeing right there, I think that's Q for Tiana's. They are putting up Q posts. We'll see that from the Mark Twain here in a little bit. Let's go back. We're going to look through once more, because if we go past that fence all the way through, and I think that fence, the dark brown fence, I think that's the fence that on the other side of that fence would be where the boats are where the boats are launching for Tiana's before they go up that very first lift hill. While we're on the path, we'll just take a quick peek at the location where the Haunted Mansion gift shop will be. Not seeing much there. Just those same steel poles we saw last week that are creating the sort of definition of the space. But I did find a crack. Look at that. What you're seeing there is the new surface. That's about where the Haunted Mansion gift shop will go. So they're ready. They've got the concrete poured there. And those gray poles are somewhere around that space, which is interesting because normally you start going vertical, I think, before you've finished the concrete there. Like if you're going to build something, you dig it up. So I'm still not sure how they're putting this together, or it's either, well, it could just be that I'm an idiot, that I don't know what I'm talking about, and it doesn't, that it is perfectly normal how they're doing that, but it seems out of order, or unless the view that I'm getting is sort of deceiving. Now, something that I teased in our State of Disneyland report that I thought would be gone by the time I came back to get this week's construction footage. There are actual knotholes in the walls, and I can get a pretty good view of what's going on within the scope of that tiny hole. This is the Critter Country entryway. Tiana's on the left, Hungry Bear on the right. It looks like they have finished all the concrete work out there. This is actually a really cool shot. I don't know it's not going to be this good for the Mark Twain. We're limited in terms of, how far left and right we can see, because it's just a tiny hole and the camera kind of barely fits in there. I tried to rotate a little bit, the gimbal, but we start seeing the actual knothole instead of what's happening. Anyway, that's really fascinating. Look, and so you can see some fencing along those trees on the right as you approach. Do we see a queue there? That's the approach to the Many Adventures of the Winnie the Pooh. You would start to head into the queue after that tree right there in the middle right third of the frame. I don't know. I cannot see. Well, that's interesting. They have changed how it's defined a little bit. It used to be just one straight path without a lot of, separation in any way, in any direction, but they've sort of created a little bit of personality there on the right. Like, unless there was a churro cart. I don't know where to place that churro cart now. That was a really adorable, cute churro cart. Is that in that little first right turn, and then the queue is in the second one? That's really, really interesting. But what I don't see, though, is that sort of defined space that I thought I saw when we were looking at it from the Hungry Bear. Meanwhile, on the left, we're still not sure what, obviously they're creating a path with those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 of those poles, those vertical poles. They're not trees, and I'm not sure what those, the wooden things that are wrapping around those poles, what that function is. We know at least they're speakers, so they're probably going to be doing the radio broadcasts from here, or that's where the radio broadcast will be transmitted. What other function those poles might have is still undetermined. And as we pan to the left, you can see that they've got that's one of those magnolia trees, and you can see the planter around that has been finished up. They've come a long way on this space. Since they put those walls up, we haven't been able to really look through here. When the train closed and all that. So that's looking actually near finished. They're not that far away, I don't think. Let's check the next one. which looks to be, okay, so that's, yeah, on the other side of that scrim is raised berets, what used to be the briar patch. Can't really see anything there other than those poles. We'll try the next one. Okay, there's raised berets again. That is useless. No way to look to the left either. So we'll go down the way and take a look at the actual mountain, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Look at that. Wow, okay. So that fence is the perimeter. Guests would be able to, guests when they're done and these walls are down, that will be the left edge, the left boundary of this wide path that we walk through or walk on as we pass Tiana's. That'll be on our left or the right if you're going towards Haunted Mansion. So that's, you know, so there, somewhere in there, there's going to be water. I don't know where the water will be, but there's supposed to be water here. And that's what we're kind of waiting for to see this get finished. See there? Okay, yeah, see there's the wall. That's the wall that, you know, everybody would stand next to and take their pictures and look out over. So I have a feeling, I think there's supposed to be water right there on the other side of that wall. I think that's supposed to be water. We'll try another one. That fence again is the perimeter, I think. Yeah, there's the boundary. That's the brick wall or the boulder wall. That's path. And then you can see a lot of the landscaping and vegetation that they've put in there. We won't get the full idea, the full picture of what this is until it's got water and we get to see it at night. Before we finish here, let's look to the left. They have completed this part. This is the return. After you've done the drop, you're on your way back into the show building. This is all done. Scrim and scaffold are all gone here. You can see what they did was install those lights. They've added some new lighting fixtures there that are actually on. They're lighting something right now. But that was it. That's what they installed there. I'm waiting to see what they put over here on the left where those boulders are, because it looked like they were installing maybe a speaker or something to that effect on that side, but we'll see. Before we get on the Mark Twain to look further at what's happening at Haunted Mansion and Tiana's, let's go to the Adventureland Treehouse where the wheel is working, but the buckets are not working still. But what I'm here for is just to listen.
Like, I'm not even asking for them to get rid of it completely, just not constantly. Once every 30 or 40 seconds, I think is good.
That does mean, though, that the organ is back. The music is playing again here in the organ scene. The music is back at the daughter's room. That sort of atmospheric, new agey type music. And the boy's room is back. The monkey's back. He's working. The birds are birding. All the sounds are back here. If only we could do something about the whistle.
Just might be me being ignorant, but why can't they make it work like it's designed to, like naturally? Why can't they make the buckets work as if they were without power in the middle of a deserted island, and it was just, you know, the power of brains and water and all that making that work? How come they can't do that? Why does it have to be a motor?
Unfortunately, also the sign is still here. I'm just gonna bug on this sign for a few more weeks, I think, and then I'll get over it eventually. But that's all we're seeing from up here. Let's take a peek over the wall if we can to see what we can find at the old Magnolia Park. And you can see there's the perimeter of the new Q space. On the other side of that wall is going to be Haunted Mansion Q. On this side, that's the definition. That's the separation between the Haunted Mansion Q and Magnolia Park, and what's, you know, sitting next to Tiana's palace. Now that the path is open, by the way, it does give us once more a chance to look at at the mountain from the front, hoping to see, you know, something new, which we can. The second lift hill, you can see they've added some landscaping or some, you know, leaves or whatever, like ivy, on the facade of that barn. I don't believe that was there before, but we still can't see anything at the top of the drop. I think the sun is, if the sun were in the opposite direction, if the sun were behind us, which it never will be, then we might be able to see something in there. But because the sun is in front of us, we're getting washed out, so we can't see anything. With that, we will get on the Mark Twain. There's Magnolia Park right there. I mean, lots going on the ground there. It's kind of a cluttered mess. I'm not really sure what to make of this, but I imagine that they're making some I'm kind of surprised to see that earth mover back there, the digger, And the Silva cells, the Silva cells are still there. I was looking for them before, I didn't see them, but now I see them in the left third of the frame, right next to that tree. So they're still looking to do that. I don't know what that white obelisk-looking thing is next to it. I don't know what that is. What I'm hoping to see is a little bit more theming. You know, the maybe the brick facades or anything that tells us what this place is going to look like when they're done. Although it's not going to look like much. It's just going to be a courtyard. And they're going to put tables and chairs out there. So I'm not sure what I'm expecting to see, really, to be honest. And there you can see, yeah, there's the bricks. That is the landscaping. And it will be the landscaping in front of the train station when it's done. Magnolia Park again. There we go. Now we can see, oh, gosh. Okay, that went by fast. Okay, right there. Yeah, that little gap where you see the bricks on the left, the brick wall, and then an angled row of bricks on the right. In between that is an empty space that there's dirt right there. Those are the stairs up to the platform, the queue for the New Orleans Square station. I don't know why that has triggered me, but it kind of, again, it sort of unleashes the imagination and lets you we can now start to visualize how this is going to look, and it's going to look just like it did before. I think that's great. I mean, so far anyway, it seems to be the case. In the areas where they can redo it, they are. They've kind of adjusted things a little bit at the Haunted Mansion when we walked in there. I mean, just a little bit different, but more or less it was the same as it was. We'll find out if they put all that old landscaping back there, that beautiful, the reds and the greens and the purplish colored things. Really gorgeous. I hope they are able to find a way to putting that back. Mark Twain keeps moving, and so too will our camera. Now we're looking at the defined queue space, and you can sort of see the perimeter of the walls. There's 1, 2, you can see 3 of the walls right there on the other side of the construction wall. You can also see more wrought iron gating. We saw some of this last week, and now that gate, that could be the gate that leads to that covered area that runs along the path of the Disneyland Railroad. That new space, it looks almost like a greenhouse kind of thing in the back of that concept art. So behind that, which we can't even see them, they haven't gone any kind of vertical on that, obviously. But behind that, those 2 brick pillars and that concrete wall there, behind that wrought iron fencing, is going to be another section of queue. That covered green section that's in the concept art. We'll scan real quick to the right to see if we can find anything happening over the wall for the new Haunted Mansion gift shop, but it looks about like it did last week. And then back to the Haunted Mansion queue. Everything else is pretty well obscured. There's just walls up everywhere, scrimmed, hiding anything that we might be able to see. The good news is, though, in spite of the fact that we can't see anything here, we do have the benefit of the Fresh Baked Street team. And they have come through for us once again this week. This is almost the exact same shot we got a couple weeks ago over the wall. Or was it last week, maybe? But a lot of progress has been made since then. That's the new queue space. It doesn't look that big, does it, from here? From this angle, it doesn't look like a lot of space. But again, perhaps it could be, a trick of the lens, or trick of, in terms of our perspective. I don't know how many people are going to fit in there, to be honest. But let's go ahead and observe this. Observe this. There's a wall within a wall. That's why it looks so small. We are figuring this out on the fly. Okay, so the wall that we're looking at is not the wall with the fountain. The wall that we're looking at, look at in the next photo, in the second photo. In that second photo, you can see the low brick wall, the curved wall. That's in the frame, that's in the picture. And then behind that is a concrete wall. That's just the center part of the queue. So there's more queue to be built behind that wall. So we may still be getting the fence, and we may still be getting the fountain. That's probably why my eyes were saying this looks too small, because it wasn't big enough. There's more queue to be built, I guess is what I'm saying. That makes a lot more sense to me. So there you go. Now let's go back to that first picture. I want to show you something. I pointed out in the foreground, The two concrete or the two brick pillars with the wrought iron fencing in the middle, and there's that circle, an empty space there in the top middle of that fence. And then you look at the concept art. If we zoom in on the concept art, you can see they've got plans. They've got some sort of themed element there. I feel like that's important. I feel like that blue circular thing there is important in terms of the lore of the mansion. I feel like that's got to mean something there. But it's difficult to tell here in this image because it gets a little grainy as we try to zoom in on it. But I'm curious what that image might symbolize. By the way, now that we're here, is that the tree right there in the middle? Is that the tree that we've been watching them keep in a planter? That's too small, I think, compared to the one we've seen. But that tree is going to be decorated as well. You can see there's a bunch of stuff hanging in that tree. I don't know. We're discovering stuff here, guys. So that's really, really exciting, guys. By the way, I just have to say, this is every week. I think we're going to start seeing stuff like this because we're no longer in the demo phase. We're in the building phase. We have been for a little while, but it's now starting to be stuff that we can recognize as just normal humans and not construction workers who've seen the schematics and everything. Our normal everyday human eyes can start to make out what they're building, and it's kind of exciting. With that, we'll keep going towards Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Not a lot to see of the mountain from here. Still waiting for anything on the drop. And the view here now is less spectacular now that we can see through those knotholes. I sure hope we haven't, seen the last of those knotholes. I thought those would have been boarded up because some people have been posting pics of that area on social. And I mean, this could be the end of this video, so we'll see. We do know they watched because they've been fixing stuff also. But so that's pretty much all we can see right now. We can't see the ground now. All we can see is above the wall. But let's note this. It does look like they have dropped a couple more trees there in the far left of the frame. We saw them bring in that one magnolia, but as the camera is able to keep, or as the Mark Twain keeps drifting to the right, oh, never mind, we'll come back to that. There, okay, you can see the light fixtures on the poles there. I'm not sure where I'm going now. Oh, there's that fence right there. That's the fence we could see from the ground at the Hungry Bear. What is that fence right there? I hope it's what I think it is, because I think that would be pretty neat to give the area more definition, more character, more personality. Proceed further. Okay, so now the Mark Twain is starting to drift, and now we can see that it's not one tree, it's three. There are now 3 trees that have been installed in that space, one behind the other one. You can't make it out yet, but as we keep going, you'll see. Oh, look at that. That gap into the mountainside that we've been waiting for them to do something with. Or you can see that they've started adding conduit back there. So they're getting ready to, yeah, it looks like, yeah, they're ready to install stuff. Probably for those fixtures that have been lining the path there at Bayou Country. God, I can't do it. Yeah, 3 trees there. And then the scrim there on the top left corner, that's Ray's Berets. Pan to the right, that's the path, the bridge up to Hungry Bear. And that's it. That is it. There's the Hungry Bear. You can see again, they put in the tables and chairs. Those have been reinstalled. So that's a pretty good sign that they could be close to finishing, which also means they didn't do a lot of updating to the actual theming of the restaurant. They've just changed the name. They're probably going to drop a couple references to the Country Bears, including that sign back there, which I captured from Tom Sawyer Island also. Ursus H. Bear, the Grill Master, 1928. So they've added a wall back there. I don't know if that's to obscure the train or not. I don't think there was a wall. It was just trees before, right? But they put, that's a very direct reference to the Country Bear Jamboree. He was one of, or is one of, the characters featured in that show. And that art actually looks very familiar. It is. I think that is. Yeah, that's from the actual attraction. That same profile. That same portrait. Look at that. Well done, Disney. Good job. So those are the headlines. Let's pick up some odds and ends. Still waiting for them to do anything. Well, still waiting to see them finish what's happening out here in the Esplanade. Still waiting to find out what's behind those walls. There have been mystery walls popping up here and there, as we'll see. The Disneyland Railroad is closed. Obviously, we've been talking about that for a few weeks. Notice, by the way, that there's no Halloween decorations on the Disneyland Railroad. What I'm talking about is the bunting that's there on the building itself. This is from last year. They did not decorate the train station this year. Meanwhile, you don't see that the decorations on that light post, the lamp right there in the foreground of this image, that's not decorated. That lamp should be right about here where that trash can is. Now, obviously, that trash can is actually covering up where the lamp was, which is probably why they don't have decorations on the lamp, because the lamp's not there. Still, though, you think they would at least decorate the train station. I don't know. I'm going to catch you guys up on what's happening in the restrooms out here at Adventureland, and that's absolutely nothing. I took a peek through the walls there. I didn't film it, but they haven't touched that space since they put those walls up. Nothing is happening back there. Just FYI. I mean, the restrooms are still open, but whatever it is that they were doing back there, they're still doing it. They have taken down the walls here at the Fantasyland Theater to reveal more of that sort of schoolyard type blacktop surface. I mean, that's basically all they were doing here, it looks like, is just applying that new surface. No other changes were found. I don't think it's any wider or narrower than it was before. I don't think they have they? I don't think so. It felt about the same to me. Normally, my senses tell me if something's different here, and I wasn't noticing anything. Fantasyland Theater is still closed. The walls are still up there in the rear of the theater, and they've made marginally more progress in striking that set, although a lot of those features are still out there. There's the watermelon, the circus cookies, and some of the set elements are still there. So they're taking their time, which means they're in no hurry, which means that they have no plans. Oddly, Troubadour Tavern is still open. Normally they open this only when there's a show going on, but they've got the Troubadour open, perhaps maybe because they want to sell Halloween treats here, perhaps. I don't know. I was surprised to see it still open. The menu is the Pixar Fest menu still, which is probably not a bad idea. The food wasn't bad. Go to Downtown Disney next, where some more of those mystery walls popped up. Here's one in front of Naples, and another one out in front of the World of Disney. I don't know what these are for. Probably not a big deal. Dress Shop is closed. What's relocated now to over there next to the home store. And Marceline's is still closed. That's not expected. Marceline's is going to take over all of that space that was just in your frame to the left. That's going to happen. My understanding is the Marceline's will reopen October, November, something like that. The fountain is gone. The Tortilla Joe's fountain out in front of that in Splitsville is now completely gone. The concrete has been redone. It's all brand new concrete down there. Scrim and scaffold and all that stuff is down. So it's just empty space now. They did not do this because they hate fountains. This is all in advance of them getting ready to build whatever they're going to build when they're done tearing this building down. They're doing this. This is very slow going here, too. I don't know what's going on with this sign back here. I found this Tortilla Joe's sign that's on the wall, this painted sign. It's seen better days. I don't know if it's always been like that or if that's a new development, but that looks kind of weird. All the tables are still back there. This is in the outdoor dining area where the bar was. So they don't seem to be in any kind of hurry at Tortilla Joe's, nor are they in any kind of hurry to finish this retail building. I don't know what I don't know what they're doing there. I know they had some issues, some permit issues. They failed an inspection, I think, because they did something incorrectly. They were applying a certain set of rules, building codes or whatever, that were incorrect. What that means for the future of that space, I don't know. But they are making progress here at Parkside Market. They are building walls now, which is great. I wish I could get on the monorail and take this home, but I can't. Oh, by the way, yeah, we still got to stay here to show you that they've gone. We got more steel at the back check that they're rebuilding that separates the downtown Disney from the Disneyland Hotel. The way it's looking at the steel that we're seeing there now is different from what we saw at this new. It's not that. They're not building another one of those. It looks perhaps a little less themed as this one is. It's, it looks more like the old system, I guess is what I'm saying, but it's not quite that either. If you look at, that's the old system, which are just literal tents. This is actually not built-in steel. These are easily taken down. They don't require any kind of foundation or anything like that. This structure is built in. So it's somewhere in between that new one and the old one. What that's going to look like, I couldn't say. We'll jump over to Cars Land in DCA. You know, last week we reported that there was a construction wall. I almost didn't see it this week. I almost didn't catch that they had a construction wall here because they've added some very, effective camouflage. That ivy that they put on the side of that wall, but not the whole wall. Ay, Disney. I'm kidding, of course. It's still there. I don't know what they're doing. I also don't know what they're doing over here by Luigi's. We looked into this last week, and this is behind walls. I tried again to get the camera through there. It's very hard to focus because it's a small sliver, but you can see it's completely stripped. That's just dirt. They've dug up all of that landscaping that was there before. It wasn't a lot, but it was something. I'm going to keep trying. That was the far left that I was looking at here. This is a little further down the right towards Avengers Campus. I'm just hoping to see dirt. Just show me some dirt. There we go. There's some dirt right there. That is definitely dirt. And it looks like they're even digging something here. That's hard to get that in focus, but there's some sort of hole being dug there. I mean, I don't know, man. Again, I don't think this is related to any sort of work that they're doing for Avengers Campus, but it is curious just the same. It's really kind of a mystery that I would love to see. I would love to see them. I would love to be able to solve this one. Maybe next week. Next, I headed over to Avengers Campus because I had heard a rumor that Charlie was open. Gantry Lift Charlie. The third one, the one to the far right as we face it, I heard that this had reopened, and that means that all three were functioning. So we're going to stand by. There's Alpha. Alpha just opened up there. You can see on the left. And then Bravo right there in the middle opens up. That's good. We're 2 for 2. Or we have 2 out of 3 so far. We're hanging in there. Oh, there it is. There's Charlie. We got all 3 gantry lifts running at Guardians of the Galaxy.
Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, all just in time for the Halloween season and Monsters After Dark. Well done.
And we'll close with an update, a wrap-up of all of the ongoing closures and upcoming closures. As you heard us talk about last week, the Jungle Cruise will be going down for a refurb on September 16th. It closes on September 16th. It'll be reopening on October 3rd. Oh, I'm sorry. It's closed through October 3rd, reopening on the 4th. So you're looking at about a 3-week closure there. And we do know it is to fix the tiger scene here at Jungle Cruise. To what extent that repair is beyond that, or what it is that exactly they're doing, we don't know yet. We just know that, well, I'm hoping anyway, that they restore the temple arches there and everything. But what else it might include, hard to say. I don't think it's going to include this scene. I feel like they have to refabricate. If they're going to fix anything, if they're going to do anything here ever, they're going to have to refabricate some of these pieces and build them again. You can't just fix them. You have to rebuild them. So that could take a little while. So I'm not expecting to see anything here. Not that I expect them to do anything, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they did nothing with this, because they have been doing nothing with it for ever, Indiana Jones is also closing while we're here. That's coming up on September 9th. It'll close on the 9th. It'll only be going down for 4 days, though, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 days. 9th through the 13th, reopening on the 14th. Again, I don't expect there to be anything major. This is probably just for routine maintenance. The Columbia is closing on September 23rd. That'll be for just 4 days as well. I don't know what that repair is for. Again, probably routine maintenance. And then, as reported last week, It's a Small World is closing on September 16th. There is no reopening date for that, but obviously we do expect it to be reopening for the beginning of the Christmas season, the holiday season. As for projects or attractions that are closed now, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, of course. We don't have a reopening date for that as of yet. We're still waiting for that, but I'm hoping that they're not too far along. That thing has been closed for quite a while. Disneyland Railroad, that closed back on August 5th. We have a reopening date. We don't have a reopening date for the Disneyland Railroad. We have a guess that is going to be something like mid-October. That's our expectation. We'll find out. We can't yet see far enough into the future. I think the farthest we can see now is October 6th. So it's beyond that at least. Space Mountain is closed right now. It'll be closed through September 5th, reopening on September 6th. We will be there to rope drop that, I'm sure, to find out whether or not they fix those blue lights. And that concludes our construction update for this week. Exciting update, lots of information, lots of things happening. All these projects are starting to come to something of a finishing point. And even though it seems like it's far off, Tiana's is looking at November 15th right now, as per the D23 announcement. But who knows as far as Haunted Mansion goes in the queue space, and the rest of that, Bayou Country and Hungry Bear. Stay tuned to Fresh Bake. We got you covered. We're here every week to check in on this for you. So follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney. That's Fresh. I post a lot of daily or just stuff that I discover throughout the week before I put it into a construction report. We post a lot of that stuff there on Twitter. So follow us there if you can. And then on TikTok at Fresh Baked Disney. And if you like the show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. And also join our newsletter. Link in the description. It's free. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.